What's going on, guys? Welcome to another one of Black Iron's battles. Today we've got a super cool Total War Warhammer 2 free-for-all battle for you. And if you look, my opponents are DahvPlays, Rising Chaos, and the mighty Turin. And so we'll go ahead and put it on pause because as you see, Turin and Rising Chaos are already starting to fight. And so you'll see that I've taken the High Elves, DahvPlays is using the Lizardmen, Turin is the Skaven, and Rising Chaos is the Dark Elves. Now, besides just the fact that all four of us great guys are having some fun here, we've also taken random draft armies. So the rules of that is you press random one time, anything you get, you take. Any spells, you keep. Any chevrons, you leave them where they are. So these armies are actually picked by the gods. So right off the bat, let's go ahead and take a look at what I've been given. So using the High Elves, one of the very first things we'll point out is I do have Turin. So I have Turin, I've got him on foot. So on foot, he's got 125 armor. He's not a large unit, so anti-large won't work against him, and he should be able to do a lot of damage in this free-for-all battle. Here I've got a pretty weak front line. You see I've got 2 spearmen, but luckily they do have a couple of chevrons, so they're not as weak as they would be. They have 54 melee defense. So they're actually a pretty good front line. Now besides that, if you look over here, we do have a noble. And that noble is a melee specialist. You see he's got a chariot here. So, you know, he's got armor piercing, anti-infantry, and it is just, you know, it's not a bad unit. Over here on the side, we've been given a Tyrannoch chariot. Now, I haven't really gotten to use this unit much, so it's pretty fun to bring. Besides that, we've got some Illyrian Reavers. If you look over here, you'll see I've vanguarded some Illyrian Reaver archers. In the back, we have a group of archers, which actually has a silver chevron, and then we have a group of Lothern Sea Guard with shields. Over here in the back, you'll see that we do have a group of silver helms and a group of silver helms with shields. In the air, you see where we've got that Frostheart Phoenix. So he does have that frost aura. That'll actually slow the units around him. It does pretty well, you know, for an AoE debuff. Besides that, I think actually I think that's about it. I don't believe we have any more units vanguarded. So we've got the chariot, we've got the Illyrian Reavers and the archers. So we have pretty even mix of troops. Over here for Rising Chaos and his Dark Elves, you'll see that he does have a Dreadlord, and he's got him up there on a black dragon. So that is awesome. And you know, we actually each have all of our abilities as well. So you know, we've got you know, Foe Seeker and all sorts. I mean, he's got armor piercing. He's got all sorts of abilities. Besides that, he does have a group of harpies right there. He's got 2 groups of witch elves in the back on each flank. He does have a group of dark shards and a group of dark shards with shields, as well as some Blackguard of Naggarond here in the front, and some bleak swords and Blackguard corsairs mixed in there in between them. Now that's actually a really sturdy build to get from from the gods. Besides that, he does have this Cold One chariot, which I haven't seen in action very much, but it looks pretty awesome. I know that it can rampage, which is always a problem for a chariot because you want to kind of keep him moving. But, you know, we'll see. Go ahead and see what happens. Besides that, he does have over here, he's got vanguarded. It looks like 3 groups of Dark Riders with a couple of chevrons in them. So this group of Dark Riders has shields. We've also got these other 2 groups of Dark Riders. And so, you know, besides all he's got over there on the right, he does have some vanguarded units. So that's actually a really good army that he was given. Here for Turin's army, you'll see he's got a bunch of Skaven slaves in the front. He's got like 8 groups of Skaven slaves, I feel like, or 6 groups. He's got some clan rats with spears over there on the right. And luckily, he does have the Skaven slaves with spears. So because they do have 31 melee defense when they're buffed, you see that? Look at that, 25 melee defense. I mean, these guys can do some alright damage for their cheap cost. He's also got some storm vermin on each side, one with sword and shield, the other with halberd. He's got some poison wind globadiers, which can do some good range damage and give armor piercing and anti-large. They've got magic attacks, so that's pretty good. He does have in the middle, though, these warp fire throwers. I want to zoom in on them just because they're one of my favorite units. I mean, look at that. They are so awesome. Those warp fire throwers, although they're kind of fiddly and they take a lot of messing around with, and when they do start shooting, they do a ton of damage. Besides that, he does have these 2 groups of poison wind globadiers, not just one. And then he's got a doom wheel here in the back, as well as a plague claw catapult and a warp lightning cannon. So, I mean, he hit the artillery jackpot with his random army. I mean, he's got one of each of the Skaven artillery. He's got some slingers in the back there just to kind of provide some more fodder. He does have a Grey Seer with Plague, so he'll be able to do the summons and Wither and just, you know, all sorts of great spells. And he's also got an Assassin, so he's got trophy heads. I mean, he's just got a really, really strong Skaven army. I mean, he's got this fodder in the front, he's got this big artillery line, and he got a good range. He's got some storm vermin. I mean, that's just another really good one. So the random army seemed to be picked a little bit better here in the Warhammer 2. Here for DahvPlays, you'll see we've got some Saurus Spears with shields, Saurus Warriors to kind of mixed in, some Skink Cohort there. I mean, look at those skinks. Everyone loves skinks, right? So we've got some Skink Cohort, we've got some Saurus with Spears. So he's got actually a pretty strong front line there with some Saurus and skinks. In the back line, you'll see he's got some Cold One Spear Riders on each side. These are some Pharaoh Cold Ones, actually. He does have some Skink Cohort with Javelins. He's got a big group of Temple Guards, so a pretty rounded front line for him. And then over here in the back, I mean, you'll see there's some Death Runners over there. And I thought that there was some Vanguarded units for DahvPlays as well, but maybe not. So for besides all those different regular units he does have quite a few monstrous units. So you see he's got Krokgar here, and Krokgar looks so tiny on foot, but when he's on foot, I mean, he's strong. He's got 95 armor, he's got 57 melee attack. I mean, anti-large. He isn't large, I don't believe. So let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong about that, but Krokgar is just nasty on foot. Actually, he's really hard to kill. He's got a Bastildon with Solar Engine. He's got a Feral Bastildon. He's got a Revivification Crystal Bastildon. He's got another Solar Engine. So, I mean, that is like almost what you would take to troll somebody in free-for-all. I mean, this is just super strong. Lots of artillery, lots of Solar Engines, and then finally the Skink Chief. Now, I thought that he wouldn't last too long, but he is a melee specialist. He's got poison attacks. I mean, 445 missile damage. Look at that. So that blow dart gun he's carrying does some major work. So I mean, that's about it. But I mean, as you can see, for random armies, everyone did pretty well. So before I run out of breath here, let's go ahead and get this battle started. I did have a great eagle. I forgot to mention he's hiding there in the trees. That was a very important part of my army, this great eagle. So, but right off the bat, you'll see that, I mean, right over here, they're really starting to fight it out immediately. So these one group of Dark Riders with shields and these Death Runners, they're engaged in a big fight over here. And you'll see that these Death Runners are actually doing a pretty good amount of damage. They're pretty much taking out these Dark Riders. I mean, I don't know if it's the Weeping Blade or just in general the amount of damage, but they were actually able to take out those Dark Riders, but not before Dahv can get his Pharaoh Cold Ones in here. And those Pharaoh Cold Ones, I think, should do some pretty good damage against those Death Runners. However, if you see, those Death Runners already have 21 kills, and those Dark Riders are routed off the field. So there is just a ton of stuff going on here. It looks like a second group of Dark Riders will probably get taken out by this Doom Wheel. And this Pharaoh Cold Ones have already gone rampage because they're fighting. I mean, this group of Death Runners is just doing major damage. Let's get in there and look at that. They're swinging those nasty weapons, and they're doing some major work. So you'll see over here on the right that I've started to move up, and I actually have got I'm gonna start also bringing my I've archers around the back here. I took a few shots, if you can see, but I don't have any kills, even though I have used up some of my ammunition. I'm not doing it was not doing a lot of damage here in the back. I tried taking a shot at the Skink Cohort, and these Dark Riders are taking heavy hits from those Bastildons already. So I'm slowly moving my troops up over there. If you look, it's pretty much cleaned up over here. The Doom Wheel ended up taking out that group of Dark Riders. These Pharaoh Cold Ones actually ended up getting routed off. Look at that. They were broken, and they're pretty much about to be shattered by this group of Death Runners who now have 2 chevrons. So those Death Runners are becoming just a major problem for everybody. With 44 kills already, they've just been nasty. Besides that, you'll see the Turin with his artillery has been firing in. I mean, he's hit his Bastillodon, his plague catapult was taking some shots over here at this Blackguard, and there's just been look at that. I mean, now you'll see, look at those. Oh man, oh sorry, I missed that up. But they landed right there in the middle, and they took it. I mean, although they didn't take a lot of damage, that over time that'll do some major hurt. You can see also that that Bastildon with the Revivification Crystal is having to use charges on itself just to stay alive. Over here on the right, you'll see I'm trying to get a few shots off, so I'm using these Illyrian Reaver archers. But what I really did was I left a pile of dead bodies, so that is not what I wanted to do. I'm going to go over here and see if I can kind of pick off something over here. But, I mean, look at those Cold One Chariots kind of just smashed through those lines. Those Skaven Slaves are not going to be able to hold up at all. But it's actually taken a good amount of damage already, and I'm not 100% sure what from, but I'm willing to go in here behind them, and I'll just take a few pot shots. I'm not really sure where those Reaver Archers are going to get into play. You see those Skink Cohort have been, I mean, look at that. That Plague Claw Catapult has just been doing major damage here. Here in the middle, you'll see that, I mean, that Cold One Chariot is getting, I mean, there's all sorts of spells being cast, and I finally actually gotten my High Elves to engage over here on the side. So this is what I was hoping for. You see here, up in the air, we've got a big battle going on. This is my Frostheart Phoenix and the Great Eagle, and we're trying to take out this Dreadlord, and he, even though he has got Deadly Onslaught and everything, we're starting to get some leeway. But he does have these Harpies in here, and even though we are kind of, everyone's kind of being debuffed by the aura of this Frostheart Phoenix, those Harpies are gonna you know, are gonna be a real problem. So I really need to start taking them out with these archers that are here in the back. And unluckily for me, he did get this group of Dark Riders around, so it's important. I'm gonna get these Lothar and Seaguard. I'm gonna try to get them right into this Dark Riders because they're there to kind of protect those archers. Luckily for me, since these archers do have a chevron, they're actually being able to hold off those Dark Riders pretty well. Here in the back, you'll see my Noble's doing okay. He's already got 43 kills, and when I mean, since he's on that chariot, he's able to do some good damage. Unluckily for me, that Blackguard of Nagaron caught my Illyrian Reavers, and if you look, they just left a dead line of Reavers. That is not gonna, we're not gonna be able to do much about that. You see, we finally got our archers firing, and we're actually starting to try to take some shots at the Dreadlord, take the shots, we're knocking some Harpies down, and it is just imperative to me that we win this air battle. You see my Great Eagle's down to half health, and they're actually going to start pulling their air right out. Here in the back, you'll see we've got our Silver Helms. They're engaged with these Witch Elves, and since they're under that you know, Madness of Cain, they're gonna be fighting here for a while. And since he's got these Blackguard and Nagaron around the back, those guys are going to be in for some major trouble. Look at this, they're going to charge in. We're going to get a couple of hits on these Harpies, and they're going to start going down. I mean, everyone is engaged right now. The Dark Riders are engaged by the Lothar and Seaguard. We're taking shots with these Reavers at the Dreadlord, and it is just a major crazy battle going on over here. You see the Noble's been routing off. He's shaking, but he'll be back in, I think, before too long. Over here on the other side, you'll see that this Cold One Chariot has been routed off, and he's getting shot by Skaven Slave Slingers. He's being chased by this assassin. We've got a big mass of Skaven Slaves kind of engaging against these Saurus with spears. And this was just an engagement that took a really long time. Oh, look at that Warp Fire. Oh, that is a crazy... I mean, even though they're almost dead, look at that. They've lost almost half their monos. They're still doing really good damage. But it looks like those Warp Lightning Cannons have been kind of taken offline. He's been shooting them with these Bastildons with solar engines, which are up to 25 kills and 26 kills. Oh my god. Look at that massive burst. I mean, those Skink Cohorts, they're just getting nailed from all sides. Turin's also got the, look at the catapults are here in the back, shooting 99 kills. So overall, Turin looks like he's holding his own. And he's got the front line of Storm Vermin and Skaven Slaves. He's kind of routed off one of these Feral Bastildons already. He's got some Skaven Slaves and the spears in the back, but DahvPlays is going to bring around this Bastildon Cold One Riders, and Croc Guard still there at full health with 17 kills. So there's just a major battle still going on over here. Over here on our side, you'll see why. Rising Chaos is up to 8,400 and I'm at 6,000 because there has just been a massive battle taking place. My Silver Homes were just pretty much, I mean, the fact that they got tied up by those Witch Elves and then surrounded by the Blackguard, they were just taken right out. And unfortunately for him though, I was able to kill the rest of those Harpies and sacrifice my Great Eagle to be able to take this Dreadlord down heavily. So we've still got some archers fighting. We've kind of co-mingled our troops. The Blackguard Cuirassiers here are up to a silver chevron, and they're fighting against the Sea Guard. The Sea Guard, while they're good with their NI large, they're not going to be able to fight those Corsairs. Even though these archers are kind of helping there, I don't think that the Lothar and Sea Guard are going to be able to take it out. Over here on the right, you'll see the Dreadguard is just getting nailed by this Frostheart Phoenix. I mean, the Frostheart Phoenix does have armor piercing. He's got that slowing effect. He just, you know, kind of just takes units down just with his area of effect, and is just over time. So with 1066, now 793, I mean, each hit brings this Dreadlord a little closer to routing off, and brings Rising Chaos a little bit closer to getting the rest of his units off. You'll see over here, you know, I don't believe my Noble's still alive. I think he knocked him off the field, and he is going to bring some Dark Shards, and got some Blackguard over here that's still fighting. We've got 500 health left, and so, I mean, overall, you'll see it's just two tattered armies fighting over on this side. It's just so close. You'll see these chariots are routing off, and luckily we were able to rout off that Dreadlord. So once the Frostheart Phoenix chases him off the field, we're going to come around, and I think that that's going to be it for Rising Chaos. Although he is in the lead with 10,000 points, and he has just completely demolished my army. So I'm not sure. I mean, if you see there, I think that's it for Rising Chaos. Once we take out that Lord, I think the rest of his units are going to kind of shatter. There he goes gray. And so now it's just for me to kind of just try to get my army back together. I did take some pot shots at the fleeing units, but it didn't seem like they added points. Over here in the battle between Turin and DahvPlays, you'll see that these Saurus Spears and Saurus Warriors haven't changed. While a lot of these Skaven Slaves have went down, they aren't able to get through these Saurus Warriors' defenses. But, I mean, just the amount of time they've kind of... Oh, look at those close. Those were some close shots, leaving a lot of dead skink cohort behind. But they are going to get in there and get in melee with those Plague Claw catapults. And I don't think the Plague Claw will win. I think that those skink cohorts are actually going to pull out the victory in that instance. So these these Saurus Spears and these warriors over here are finally going to rejoin the battle. You see, we've got a lot of fleeing rats that are kind of trying to rejoin. We've got this Warp Lightning Cannon crew. We've got Warp Fire Throwers. I mean, all sorts of stuff just gaining to rat off that group of skinks there. But I mean, DahvPlays, even though he's here at the bottom, he does have a ton of large units. So he's still got Krokgar, which is full health. He's still got these Bastiladons. He's got two solar engines. He's still got his Revivification Crystal. He's got his Chief. I mean, there's just a ton of units, and the Skaven with the Turin have are really starting to get routed off. I mean, I don't know how Turin could possibly get through all of these large units. I'm going to try to kind of gather up and get over here as quickly as I can, but I think by the time I get over here, if I remember right, that Turin's pretty much routed off the field. You'll see here he's trying to escape these Globadiers in different directions so he can kind of get some crossfire. He's got the Grey Seer here. He's popping what he can, but I mean, this Revivification Crystal Bastiladon, he just shattered that group of Skaven Slaves with spears, and over time he's going to take down that Grey Seer no problem with only 20 armor. And since the Bastiladon has 250 armor piercing, weapon strength, he'll be able to take him out pretty quickly. These Skaven Slave Slingers are not going to help him in the slightest. All of Turin's kind of rats over here in the back are starting to rout off, as rats are wont to do, but unluckily for Turin, he's right here near the edge. So you see these Plague Claw catapult crew. I mean, everything is just slowly routing off the field. There's really not a lot left. I think he's still got that assassin going on. He's still got some warp fire throwers. He's still got his Grey Seer, but I mean, it doesn't look like he'll be alive for too much longer. He has almost pulled up even with me though in points. And if we take kind of a look from the top, you'll see I'm coming in from here on the side. Turin's kind of getting routed off, but I'm really at this point I'm thinking DahvPlays might be someone I can take right down. I'm feeling victory at this point. So I'm starting to use these archers. We're starting to fire in here at this solar engine. I feel like, you know, we've got this Skink Chief almost down with these Reaver archers. And at this point, they're already up to 61 kills, so they're not doing too bad. We're going to dive in. We've got the Frostheart Phoenix right there on that Skink Chief, and we've taken him out immediately. Here in the back, Turin and Dahv are still fighting just a little bit more. He's actually knocked off a Skink cohort, but these Warp Lightning Cannon, the Grey Seer is broken now. And there's, I mean, with only a few units left in a lot of these, you know, these groups, they're not going to have very high leadership. That assassin is kind of just the last remaining nasty unit, and he's just surrounded on all sides by units that have huge hits and tons of armor piercing. Over here on the right, I mean, if you can see, we'll try to keep them in the background there, so you guys can kind of see what's going on in the back. You'll see we've got some Saurus spears that are coming right up here. I'm just trying to get my Frostheart Phoenix kind of in and out. I don't want him to take too much damage from the spears or the solar engine. We're trying to get the chariot and all of these reavers in here, since they are all out at this point of ammo. So that is one thing about free-for-all I've noticed, is if you have ammo, like these solar engines, they're able to shoot for like the whole battle. So compared to, you know, something that'll run out of shots, they really do hold an advantage in free-for-all. So you see here we have Turin here in the middle. We've got Feign and Riposte on. We've got the Frostheart Phoenix charging in. We've got the Tyrannok Chariot. And I'm just thinking I'm just going to surround and destroy. DahvPlays in the back here has finally routed Turnoff, and with 92-95, it turns out the same thing we've had trouble with a lot is those Skaven armies. The artillery, they get shut down, and I think those solar engines really did shut them down pretty quick. See, look, we've got a charge here, and we're going to send some Skink Cohort flying. So those Skink Cohort with javelins, those Reavers just charged in there, and they were able to just to pretty much knock them, rout them right off the field. Unfortunately for me, Tyrion and this Frostheart Phoenix are kind of battling against Bastiladon, and this is about when I realized that this is going to be a hard fight for me. So I just start sending everything in, because I just noticed that Krokar is over here. He's got 44 kills, and he is at full health, and I can't even see anything about a health cap, a healing cap. My Reaver archers are breaking off. They've got 80 kills. They're still helping me in melee mode, even without their ammo. But when I see that he's marching up here with so many dinos, and he's got Krokar, I think to myself that's about it. I mean, you see my archers are routing off. My Sea Guard are out of ammo now. My spearmen are pretty much done for. And we've only got like 700 health on my Frostheart Phoenix. I do want to just try to keep Krokar back as far as I can. So look at this. I'm going to charge in, and we just send him flying. That's the one fun thing about when he's not on his mount. He is kind of a light unit. You can kind of push him around. But Tyrion's in here. Even though we've kind of got I think we've got Feign and Riposte on again. We've got the Frostheart Phoenix in here trying to kind of debuff all the units around here. But I mean, let's get in here for one last look. Look at those dinos. Tyrion is just doing his best. He's got, I mean, look at his 103 melee attack, 87 defense. I mean, he's in here fighting till the end. He is the epitome of an elite infantry master. But I mean, look at what he's up against. He is just in for some trouble. He's still staying alive. I mean, they're not going to be able to hit him, but there is pretty much no troops left. We've got just these Lothar and Sea Guard, which I'm charging in the back here. But Tyrion can't stand alone against all of that Lizardmen might, and that just pretty much wraps it up. It was just such a great battle, and I was hoping that I had pulled ahead of Rising Chaos. Look at by just a few points. Look at that. He had 10,900. I ended up with 11,000, and DahvPlays with 13,000. So if you look at all the kills here, it's just so great. The Illyrian Reavers had 83, 74 for the Silver Helms. I mean, we had tons of kills all around. Unluckily, those Illyrian Reavers, the ones with Silver Chevron, were routed off really quickly by the Black Guard of Nagaron. My Frostheart Phoenix was able to do huge damage with that Eagle. We were able to take out Chaos's Dreadlord. We were able to take out, those Harpies, and we were able to do a good amount of damage across the board. 105 kills with that Noble, 84 with Tyrion. So they were just a star. That Noble on the Chariot was a great unit. If we take a look at Turin's army, you see the Grey Seer had 53, the Assassin had 20, so he was actually able to do a lot with those lords. I think he was able to take out some heroes. He just did some overall good work. The Skaven Slave, though, having one with a gold chevron is kind of a pain. It's a waste of money, but you see, I mean, he did get some kills across his slaves. His major damage, though, was done by the Plague Claw Catapult, and that Warp Lightning Cannon was taken out pretty easily by DahvPlays Solar Engines. Also, that Doom Wheel really didn't live up to its name. Besides that, he had a ton of Poison Wing Globadiers. He had a lot of infantry. I mean, we saw those the Death Runners just do so much work in the beginning. I mean, they killed twice their weight in gold, at least. But I mean, overall, he just it's really hard as the Skaven when you're trying to use artillery to do all the damage. When you have even nastier artillery up against you. All right, if you take a look at Chaos's army, you'll see here that we had, those Harpies, no kills on them. They were fighting in the air and they weren't able to win. The Cold One Chariot 50. Those Dark Riders though, most of them were knocked off the field really early, so that was a big hit to him. I think maybe if he had those over on my side, he probably would have been able to take me out. Those Blackheart Corsairs though, look at them with 204 kills. They did heavy damage. Witch Elves, they don't always do a lot of kills, although this time they did pretty good. But what they do is they provide a lot of annoyance, so they were able to get in there and really cause me some pain and keep my units engaged when I would rather pull them away. And that let those Blackguard and Agron really take out a lot of my units. So you can see I didn't bring a huge number of units, so when he got a lot of these kills on me, it really took me down. Luckily, I was kind of able to shut down his Dark Shards with my Noble. But overall, just a ton of kills. Pretty much all of us had the same amount of kills, except for Big Dahv, who took out Turin. We'll take a look at his 114, 87. He's got ranks on all these. The Bastiladon, all of these are still alive. Those Cold One Spear Riders and Feral Cold Ones. The Feral Cold Ones got taken out pretty early by by Turin, but it wasn't a big loss for him because these big units are hard to kill. You see Krokkar 44 kills. He was the big bad daddy of the battle. He was able to do a ton of damage. 140, 141 on the Temple Guard, 177. And while there was a ton of slaves, all of these kills really add up. As you can tell, that score 1300. If he survived with these big fat boys with tons of health and just tons of ammo left, because they can shoot forever, I believe. So, it's just a really great game. All right, so I want to thank you guys all so much for watching. I want to thank DahvPlays, Turin, and Rising Chaos for the great free-for-all battle. I'm not sure if you guys probably already know, but Turin, DahvPlays both have great YouTube channels. I know they do tons of multiplayer, tons of fun stuff. You can probably watch the same battle from their point of view in the next day or two. So go ahead and check them out, please. If this is your first time, please subscribe to my channel for more great online content. And this has been Black Iron, and this is another one of Black Iron's Battles.